This moon stimulates the admiration of bold individuals, and it may inspire you to try to emulate perhaps strong or independent women. The moon rules your sense of security, and naturally every moon will trigger a response related to that. This one is a protective influence where if you feel a loved one is threatened, maybe you don't care about your own personal safety in your effort to protect someone. And this energy also brings into focus the storyteller, the exploration of ideas and the expression of that through research. Or maybe it's the lighter side of a story without really fully taking into account the shadow aspects. So for some of you, this could mean a quest for knowledge, wanting to have a voice in matters. The emphasis is on polarities, opposites, and maybe it suggests people who are living in some way a dual lifestyle. Now, it may also highlight certain places. Maybe, during this period, you hear something connected to these places in the news. Cairo, Egypt, or cities in China, particularly Nanjing and Shanghai, Nagasaki, Japan, Tripoli, Libya. On a personal level, there's a very strong desire to have the freedom to be yourself, because we're talking about Aquarius, and that sign is strongly connected to independence. And for some of you, maybe there's a relationship with an Aquarius person that's very important during this period. But you are learning to detach from situations, from outcomes, to be more objective. And that detachment serves to help you from blindly following expectations or norms, particularly those that stifle your individuality. So during this cycle, there's a wish to either be part of the group or rebel against it. And some of you may be putting some thought into the concept or issues surrounding death and any belief you have in the afterlife. This is a moon that is closely linked with Pluto. And so part of what happens during this cycle may involve the death of something that you're emotionally attached to. It can mean a need to deal with emotional and psychological issues before you can make further progress, especially when it comes to how constructively or destructively you seek to earn or gain respect from others. And this also makes you highly attuned to the emotional support you receive or don't receive. So Pluto induces dramatic change, transformation. So themes of release, purging, and rebirth are strong in areas related to your emotions, your maternal instincts, domestic issues. Again, the things that provide you nurturance and that sense of safety, security. Now, the turbulence of these two causes an extremely emotional life or an extreme expression of feeling. And this can manifest as the pursuit of a certain objective above all else, with little regard for other people. It can trigger violent outbursts, inner shock, or emotional upheaval motivated by jealousy or offended vanity or conceit or personal insults. And for some of you, maybe you're going to be extremely obstinate or emotionally erratic, or maybe you have a distorted self-image, which provokes some kind of crisis or turning point. So if you're not careful, this is a period marked with arguments and disputes because of the inner tension and unresolved issues projected into your social relationships. Now, for a very small few, this is going to bring up a struggle with a history of schizophrenia or some kind of illness related to diseases of the blood. The changes you make during this window center on examining how habits and conditioning from the past are still affecting your life in the present. Even if you're making changes to the external environment, maybe you're doing some repairs or you're decorating or you're changing your residence, this is still strongly connected to those inner changes occurring within. Now, unfortunately, the card for this moon is the Five of Swords, so it matches both astrologically and tarot-wise. And the Five of Swords is my most hated tarot card. And so there's little doubt that you're going to encounter some form of negative energy. This is a card that indicates a conscious effort to embarrass or humiliate others, fueled by a win at all costs mentality. So situations tend to feel like you're beating your head against a brick wall, or maybe you want to beat someone's head against the wall. I don't know. But these are no-win situations. It might be someone trying to gain an advantage over you in some way, or you find yourself under attack from others. It could be that you or other people simply don't want to listen, for good reason or not, or you're having to walk away from a situation that is just not working. This is the ultimate do-it-yourself card, and you may find that you have to pick up the pieces after others have acted out. So it's a period that is strongly motivated by self-interest. It brings discord, the tendency for one-upmanship, acting out of spite or malice, people talking behind your back, a smear campaign, a lot of hostility, insensitivity, and some destructive behaviors. Maybe they're not even all on purpose. Maybe there's just been some words said that were tactless. And so the wish to strike back or get revenge or bully others is prominent. But this is a cycle where you need to be careful about going too far, about knowing what the limitations are and not exceeding those, not overstepping your boundaries. In the best possible situation, frustration is causing you to go ahead and do what you need to do, things that you should have done before, the steps you should have taken before. You have to be careful, though, that these are thoughtful decisions, because if you're impatient or you've put too much stock in what you're about to do, you could take an unnecessary risk. So this is a period where if you're dealing with a difficult and challenging situations, you may feel ready to address the issue. Maybe you're going to put aside your hesitancy. You were reluctant before. Maybe you had doubt, but now anything that you've been wondering about or worrying about, you want to bring that out into the open. And regardless of what the outcome is, there's a sense of relief that something is out in the open. Maybe you're looking at something that's gotten out of control. Maybe you took too many situations or people or matters or your health or yourself for granted. And it can mean that, because you were so self-absorbed or you weren't paying attention, now that you come back around, you may get a response that somehow wounds your pride. So it is a cycle not to take risks with your physical safety. Some of you, again, maybe you're dealing with some kind of medical issue, and part of it may be the repercussions of a medication. Maybe there's some side effects that you weren't expecting. Or maybe you're trying to figure out what's wrong and it's hard to get a diagnosis. So be careful, be focused. Maybe you get distracted or annoyed. And I've spoken about this tendency before with the Five of Swords. No matter how careful, how thorough you are, whether you're trying to dot those I's, cross those T's, be aware, be focused, concentrate, something inevitably falls through the cracks. There's some kind of mistake and error, whether large or small. So, try really hard to keep up with your things or pay attention to what you're doing, because you could misplace something, lock yourself out of something, end up lost, or just some little thing could go off the rails and you could have a misunderstanding or even some kind of unfortunate accident. Hopefully, there will be some kind of clearing of wrongdoing or some regret about a dishonesty. And this moving away from this exclusive focus on winning or failure. But you will be dealing with gossips, saboteurs, and troublemakers.